Bruno and Secco's battle intensifies, a certain Stardust Crusader makes his grand return, and it looks like Doppio is just around the corner. This was another awesome and exciting episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind, as Bruno and Secco had a battle which is not necessarily to the death, but still incredibly intense nonetheless. And I didn't even really think about it until watching this episode, but yeah, Bruno and Secco have remarkably similar abilities, basically being able to travel through any space, with Bruno being able to use his sticky fingers to open up a hole to pretty much anywhere, and Secco having the distinctive ability to transform anything into mud and swim through it just like water. And they really had a lot of fun with that concept in this episode, as Bruno realizes how insanely powerful Secco is, especially when he decides to go insane, curse the name of Chocolata, and suddenly starts to display more intelligence than we've actually seen from the character. Before, Secco was essentially just a dog man, a pet, someone's bitch. Now the dog is off the leash and he is incredibly pissed off, and he is going hard against Bruno in this episode, displaying that he can do a lot more than just transform the ground and objects into liquids. He can actually sort of weaponize it in a number of really interesting ways, and he can quite literally turn people into melting puddles of themselves, which makes him an incredibly dangerous stand user. And that's what I really loved about this episode, how the visuals actually worked, with Bruno trying to use his sticky fingers to run away underground, running through multiple zipper portals, only for Secco to continuously follow him and swim underground, listening for the vibrations in the ground which has now been transformed into mud. That's basically how Secco is able to basically track all of his enemies, listening for the very distinctive vibrations. He can't necessarily see anything all that well, but since he has superhuman hearing, that basically transforms him into a killer whale. And I especially love this one ability that he has where he actually goes up to the surface, where Bruno is desperately trying to stay as quiet as possible, and he actually manages to flush him out by swallowing some mud, spitting it into the air, and when it actually leaves his body, it transforms back into a solid, and since it goes up into the air, the actual momentum transforms it into these very sharp needles, which just rain down all over the ground, impaling Bruno multiple times, one time through the neck, which looks painful as shit. This is the moment where Bruno realizes that there's no way that he's going to be able to fully escape from him, and if he's going to be able to defeat Secco, he's going to have to use his abilities against him. And that leads to what might be one of the most satisfying scenes of the episode, where Bruno actually analyzes that yes, he can hear the vibrations of things, thus if he makes a loud enough noise, he could potentially destroy Secco's eardrums. And that's what he does. He allows Secco to bring all of these things underground, including this car, which allows Bruno to punch the tire, which explodes, basically causing Secco's eardrums to just basically erupt, and he just loses all sense of hearing, which essentially means he loses all of his ability to track Bruno. In a really satisfying moment where they make their way up to the streets, Bruno tricks him into actually going up top, where his leg just immediately gets run over by a car. It's so freaking painful looking. You can see the tire track in his leg, and you can just feel the pain during this moment. And in an act of extreme desperation, with Secco not wanting to lose, he actually ends up grabbing a hostage on the street so that Bruno actually won't kill him. The problem is that hostage ends up being none other than Doppio, yes, the right-hand man of the boss, Diavolo. And this moment is incredibly intense, as I was just sort of waiting for King Crimson to show up and have Doppio actually take out Secco and Bruno, but he knows that Bruno is a man of honor, and he's not just going to kill some kid in order to take out Secco, so he actually uses his abilities to punch directly through his body, opening up a zipper so that then he can hit Secco with sticky fingers, actually attaching his arm to his body and messing up his neck so that he can't even breathe or talk, causing him to slowly stumble into the streets and hilariously falling into the back of a trash compactor, just like Chocolata. And yet, another big battle ends with a threat that the boss is right here, and things are about to get intense. Oh, and yeah, Jean-Pierre Polnareff is in this episode. It is official. They teased him in the last episode. It was very obvious that it was him, but we finally get to see him in full here, and he's not looking so hot. I mean, he somehow lost both of his legs. Now, initially when I saw him in the wheelchair in the last episode, I thought that maybe the battle that he had with Vanilla Ice and Stardust Crusaders resulted in him being severely crippled. But something else has happened here. It's obvious that he's had some sort of confrontation with Diavolo or the members of Passione, which has left him severely damaged. And because of that, he's trying to get revenge against this guy, trying to stop him, and this plan is somehow going to involve the power of the arrow that he actually took from Egypt. I'm not sure what the actual plan is going to be. Maybe he's discovered some hidden secret of the arrow. Maybe there's some other ability which can be used with the arrow. I don't know. Maybe you stab another stand user with the arrow, it'll do something and like kill them, kind of like a vampire. All I know is I'm excited to see what's going to go down. I really hope, though, that he's still able to at least use his stand. Even though he is wheelchair bound, I'm really hoping that we'll get to see the return of Silver Chariot. And otherwise, it's Jean-Pierre Polnareff. He looks almost exactly the same. He's wearing some sort of like weird thing over his right eye. It's almost like an eye patch. It's got this like weird floral design to it. I'm not sure what it is, but I have to say it was really shocking actually getting to see such a devastated Polnareff with prosthetic legs, the weird eye patch thing. Clearly, he's been through hell and back, but the circumstances behind that are still a complete and utter mystery. So, what's the rundown on this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind? This was another really great episode right here, mostly for Secco, who just displays so much batshit crazy personality that you just can't help but get sucked in. He's honestly one of my favorite villains from all of this season, and I especially love how immediately his personality just changed after the death of Cioccolata. I thought that he was just going to go on some sort of mindless berserker rampage, but he actually had a lot more thought put into all of his attacks in this episode, and it showed that he's surprisingly smart, and while he was going along with Cioccolata and acting as his pet, he was anything but. For him, it was really just a matter of convenience and safety. Now, he is free to do what he wants and to go completely insane. And his abilities that were on display in this episode were just absolutely devastating and creepy, and that combined with a great image of Bruno running through the ground and being chased after him, made this one of the most breakneck episodes of the entire series. And the fact that he can actually cause people to start melting and everything is really messed up, especially because Bruno is not doing so hot. I mean, he's starting to like lose his vision, he's having trouble breathing, his hands are literally disintegrating in front of him. Bruno has suffered quite a bit in the series, maybe the most of anyone thus far, and the fact that he's not even alive, I think, is just more proof of that. Yet his will manages to live on through the power of Golden Experience, sort of reanimating his body, so that's really awesome to see. As for Doppio showing up, that might be the biggest surprise. Even though Jean-Pierre Polnareff is in this episode, which really freaks me out, seeing Doppio just sort of appear from out of nowhere, for me, that was like the big shock moment of the entire episode, and I really did love that. I can't wait to see if he's just gonna outright kill Bruno in the next episode, or can you even kill something that's already dead? I don't know. All I know is I can't wait to see what's next. And this episode was fantastic, action-packed, and had a lot of creativity put into it. Again, one of the best things about the JoJo anime series are its battles. They're never just the standard stuff you see in other anime series. No one's shooting beams, no one's punching really hard. They always come up with amazing strategies to take down their enemies, and that's what this entire episode was all about. So that's why I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 5. You heard my thoughts? I want to hear yours. Give me your thoughts about... You heard my thoughts about this episode? I want to hear yours. Tell me what you thought about this episode in the comment section below. What did you think of the battle between Bruno and Secco? Did you have any favorite moments? Is Secco truly dead, or is he just living in a trash compactor from now on? And what's going to happen with Doppio? Is he just going to kill Bruno? Is he going to use another plan to take him down? Is he going to use him as an excuse to lead him to Polnareff? And what do you hope to see from the return of everybody's favorite Frenchman stand user? Let's just get a discussion going in the comment section below. So thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more anime reviews and topic videos. I just released one on my top 10 favorite Godzilla monsters. You'll be able to find a link for that video in the description box below. And of course, one of the best ways to support this channel outside of watching the videos and sharing them with your friends is to check out my PayPal and Patreon account. You can find links for all that stuff in the description box below. Remember, a little bit goes a long way. So thank you all again for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay down there, baby.